Today's episode is a real one. I sat down with Drew Sinclair, a Coast Guard veteran, husband, and a father of three who made a complete shift in his life. He went from years of alcohol shaping his identity to getting sober, finding his faith, and becoming more intentional about how he lives his life and leads his family. We talk about breaking generational cycles, learning how to actually be present with your kids, and why too many men are drifting through life without ever stepping back or asking what they really want. If you're a father who knows you need to make a change, this episode is going to hit home. Let's get into it.
Don't move. Keep it locked. You already know. You're listening to the Fit Fatherhood Podcast. And we're having conversations with dope dads covering the 4 pillars of fatherhood. We call it the Fit Fatherhood Formula. Faith, family, finance, and fitness. That's right. These dads are setting the pace in business and fatherhood. This show isn't only about the outside success. We're getting down to who you are. Gentlemen, it's time to get fit. And now, let's get into the show.
All right. Welcome back to the Fit Fatherhood Podcast, a podcast for fathers by fathers, where we talk about the 4 pillars of fatherhood, which are faith, family, finance, and fitness. And as always, I'm excited to have a guest with me today. You know, sometimes I get on here and I just ramble on and talk about stuff that I'm thinking about. But it's also nice to have somebody come on and kind of share their experience. It's good for me, and I know it's good for you guys. My guest today is Drew Sinclair. Drew, how you doing today, brother?
Hey, Rod, I'm doing well. Thank you, man, for having me on.
Awesome. So for the guys who don't know you yet, and we'll get to know you well after this, Drew, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you got going on.
All right, so I'm just shy of my 44th birthday in about a month and a half, and I just retired from the Coast Guard, well, about a year and a half ago. May 17th, 2024, retired from the Coast Guard. Married my high school sweetheart. I have 3 children, and we did something a little unique. So I moved around my entire career in the Coast Guard as a helicopter rescue swimmer for the first half, and then the second half I was an officer. Lived in amazing places. As soon as we retired, we basically sold all of our stuff, and now we've been traveling full-time in an RV. So around the country for, about a year and a half. So I'm literally in my RV. This is the kind of the primary bedroom of our RV. And we've been homeschooling our kids, our 3 children. And, I still train. I'm into physical, fitness and training. So I still train every day doing this lifestyle. And I went sober January 1st, 2025, after being essentially a functional alcoholic for the last 10 years of my career. And then I found my faith about 3 months later, being sober. Now, fast forward today, 14 months sober, like I'm literally in the best shape of my life, the oldest I've ever been. Relationships are the best. Just lots of good things have happened to us since I retired and really started living intentionally, my wife and I and our family, and just blessed. And then I started social media 2 weeks after I went sober of January 2025, and I was against social media. And I said, you know what? I'm trying this new thing where I'm going sober. And I just started filming myself, with my phone while I was running and saying motivational posts and things like that. And it's kind of taken off, roughly about 10,000 followers. And I've helped a lot of guys behind the scenes, with fitness, joining the Coast Guard, going sober, talked to some guys about marriage stuff, having kids, all kinds of stuff. So it's opened some doors for me and allowed me to do multiple podcasts and just meet incredible people. So honestly, and again, it connected me with you here, right here. So just grateful, blessed, and life is, just going well. So I'm just going to where I'm listening to where I'm being pulled and just going with the flow.
That's awesome. Yeah, just kind of listening to God's word and just moving where it says to move is usually the best way to do it. And we typically have these ideas of the way we want to do things, and then God, he taps us on the shoulder and say, "Hey, buddy, we're going to do it this way."
Absolutely. Yes, I got tapped.
Yeah. You know what? There's another guy on social media. I would say, we met through social media, but we're closer than that now, is Jack Nofel. He was a Marine, retired during the COVID situation, and him and his wife kind of did the nomad thing for a while around the States, and then they moved to Mexico now.
Oh,
But
wow.
they did the RV living for a while, but now they're in Mexico. I don't know if they're going to stay there. They've been there for maybe a couple years now, but he does the Dads Against the Narrative podcast.
Okay.
It might be
Check him out.
it might be somebody for you to connect with, because he's kind
Sure.
of in the same vein of some of the things that you've done. Maybe
Absolutely.
not so much, tied into his religion, but I can't speak for that. You know what I mean? That may be his thing that he's maybe a little bit more private about than, putting on social media. I know everything isn't always for social media. And sometimes those
Sure.
relationships, whether they be family or your relationship to your faith, are not always like the thing that we necessarily lead with when we start, hitting record.
Absolutely. I agree. And I didn't even tell you this, 'cause I know we just started, but on top of, I was I guess what's the word? A denier, non-believer for 43 years of my life. And, I was more the black and white guy, science. And I was like, you can't prove faith. And so I always shunned people away from God. And I had looking back at multiple kind of examples and things that happened in my life, especially in the past year and a half since I retired, where, God came down and there was a clear sign where I'm like, I can no longer deny it. And it started, once I got sober and I got that clarity and got away from the bottle and started doing some really deep dive thinking. Like, so for me, I lead with, I'm a very proud and loud believer. Just because I tell folks now, because like, well, how do you know? And it's different for everybody, but
Mhm.
look back on myself, just a year and a half ago, and I felt like I was like so arrogant to many things. Like I thought I knew it all, and I thought the books and the textbooks and the education and the government, and now I'm like,
Mhm.
no, yeah. And so now I read scripture every day, and that's, what I believe and what I follow. Because to me, it's timeless, it's tried and true, and it's the word.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's funny how that works, right? Like it's written thousands of years ago, and you'll read something and be like, "Oh man, like they wrote that today." Like
Yep,
that was literally written for me. Like it spoke directly to me. It's like
100%.
you go in a museum and the eyes on the pictures are following you around. It's like that, It just hits you. It's like, man, that message was exactly for me. How did they know? You know?
I don't know what it is, and I've had people ask me because I've talked about this on a few podcasts. Because and again, I say I'm loud and proud because I put it on my social media how I'm a believer now,
Hmm.
and just because again I know the impact it's done to me. But I mean, it's been amazing. Like when people would say the Holy Spirit touched you, I've had that. Like the first time I went to church was March of last year, and I remember walking in, and this is 3 months sober, and I walked in, I felt this chills came all over me, and I literally started crying in the back of the church. I'm like, what the heck is wrong with me? My wife was there, and she's like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, I just tears falling, you know? And I started reading scripture every day from that point on. And now I don't miss a day. It's literally how I start my day is, brush my teeth. First thing I do is do that. And then I literally go read 30 minutes of scripture. I get my training in, and it literally starts my day with gratitude, and just like, I cannot miss a day is what I tell my wife now. Like I look forward to doing it.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's absolutely awesome. So you found God first, sobriety second. Was that like kind of the finding your spirituality kind of pushed you into sobriety, or how did that work? Or was there
Well,
something that you were kind of
Well,
go
vice
ahead.
versa. I actually went sober
Okay.
January 1st, but I
Gotcha.
had some
Gotcha.
signs when I looked back after being 3 months sober that I looked back, and one in particular was October of 2024. So I'd retired May of 2024, and then we
Hmm.
retired out of Miami, Florida, and we started traveling up the East Coast, and we were in Maine, and pull into an RV park in Maine, and then I see a guy next to me. He's already there in his RV park with his family, and I see an Army flag flying. So I assumed he's a retired vet. There's tons of retired vets in the RV world that travel full time as we were doing. So we pull in, we're setting up. They're already established, already set up. And I think it's around noon. And I get set up. I walk over with my tumbler, and usually my drink of choice is whiskey. So I walked over and I say, hey, man, I'm your neighbor. We're here for 2 weeks at the park. Would love to, catch up with you and chat with you. And, we'll have some whiskey tonight and sit by the campfire. That's kind of what you do in the RV world. It's fun. It's amazing. He's like, yeah, I was prior Army. He's like, yeah, but I don't drink. And I was like, okay, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just usually vets. It's big in the military culture, right? So I was like, okay, nothing about it. But the next 7 days we hung out, and we went over to campfires together and we chatted. I always drank every night. We didn't talk about God or anything, not once. We just had small talk, just talking about, hey, what'd you do in the Coast Guard? Hey, what'd you do in the Army? Watch the kids play. The day we were leaving, I had my whole rig packed up, and it's like an hour and a half process to pack your rig up. You got to pull the slides in, pack up everything, hook it up to the truck, get the kids all wrangled up. So my wife, kids, everybody's in the truck. It's idling. I literally walk over to the guy. I was like, hey, awesome meeting a neighbor, man. I hope to see you around the town or around the country as we continue traveling. And he literally walks up, places a Bible on my chest. And he says, hey, man, this is for you. A beautiful Bible. I have it literally right above my shelf back there. God, I get chills every time I tell a story. And leather bound, beautiful gold leaf Bible placed on my chest. And I look at him like, so I'm like, hey, I want to be your spouse. So I said, thank you. His name's BJ. I was like, thank you, BJ. He's like, hey, that's for you, man. He's like, stay in touch. And I was like, and that's all we said. So at the time I was still drinking, a non-believer. And then, so that was October 2024. And then January 1st, 2025, I said, I have to, and I knew I had a drinking problem. Again, I knew it for a long time. My wife, I hid it from a lot of people at work. So I said, January 1st, I'm going to just try to go one day without drinking. Cause I never had done a full day without drinking. And I started doing one day, then 2 days, 3 days, obviously a week, month, and then come March, we went to church after being 3 months sober. And that's where I broke down just like uncontrollably. It was very, and that's why I was like, man, this is what is going on with me? And again, I just started reading scripture every day. And I feel like, again, that saying the Holy Spirit touches you. And when people would say it before, and I'd be like, that's so weird, and now I'm like, not weird at all. Not at all. So he has definitely touched me. I am a changed man. My whole perspective on everything moving forward. It's weird. Like my standards have been raised. And I did it for myself. And I came to him like organically, like nobody forced me and said, oh, go to church or, read the Bible. I never grew up going to church. I didn't go to Sunday school. I didn't do any of that, so it's like, I came to him all organically. And that's why to me it's so powerful. That's why I'm loud and proud now, how I tell it.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And it's funny. Sometimes you just don't expect it, right? And it just hits you. And it's really cool that, God is so amazing, bro. Like
I
you're in
agree.
that situation, just hanging out, making small talk. It could have like if he probably had that intent to give you the Bible before that time, right? And it was probably like, I don't want to, we're just having a good time. I don't want to push it. And then, probably for the same for him. Like it was just like that nudge, like, hey man, this is the time. Like you're gonna miss this opportunity to get his brother, the gospel, right? And just boom, just right place, right time. He was just being obedient, gave it to you, and that's the catalyst, to kind of spark the change that now you
Yep.
have infected or affected 10,000 people through social media and other people who've listened to podcasts and just, people who have seen you, all because of just one moment. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. It's the magic of how he works, the miracle. It's hard to explain, but I could no longer deny the feeling. So to me, it's amazing. And now it's like the center of my life and my marriage, my kids, they all want to be, baptized. So it's like all these good things are happening to us. And I attribute to God, like to him, because it's literally since I retired, like there's so many good things that have happened to us. I mean, all over the place. And I don't know, I feel very blessed, continue worshiping him, reading my scripture and trying to be the best man I can be and best husband and best dad.
There you go. There you go. Speaking of that, you got 3 kids. How old are your
Yep.
kids?
So I have a son who's 16, my daughter is 13, and another daughter is 10.
Okay. All right. Cool. Cool. I got 2 girls myself, so I have a 13 and an 11-year-old. So we're right
Oh, right
there.
on. There you go.
So you mentioned your dad. You kind of obviously are now sober, but your dad, was a drinker as well. Um, it passed away when you were 15. So right around the age your son was when you decided to go sober. Did that play any part in it, or is that anything that you thought about? Or?
That played a huge part into it. I'm looking at as I'm breaking a generational cycle. Because I have an older brother, a younger brother, and a younger sister, so 4 of us total. In the household we grew up in, my mom was amazing, but growing up in an alcoholic household like that, where seeing the things we saw and the things that happened, no child should have to go through that. I feel like I got a, firsthand one-on-one PhD in like what alcohol does to a family. I knew that, so I didn't start drinking until I was like 21. Most people start drinking when they're 18 or behind the closed doors. I was like, I'm not going to drink because I don't even want to, tempt myself, or because I could have it in my, DNA or my genes. And so I started drinking at 21, but it didn't get bad until like the last 10 years of my career. And then it really got a hold of me. And I just couldn't, I realized I had a problem. I couldn't take a day off. And I'm like, holy crap. Now, then I started drinking a bottle a night on the weekends. And it's just like, it's too much. And then my kids would see it. They would say comments. My wife always knew, and she'd always say, you can't quit, can you? And it's just like, so it'd eat me inside. And I wasn't happy with myself. And I never did any deep dive thinking because I was always, essentially drunk is what I tell people. Cause I never did any introspective thinking. I again, felt like I was arrogant. That's why I wasn't a faith believer. I was like, oh my gosh. I put that mask on when I went to work, like that I had it all together. And on paper, I looked great. Like if you saw me, like prior rescue swimmer in the Coast Guard, enlisted, went officer, retired lieutenant commander, high ranking, did storied career. I tell people I had a great career. I had an awesome career, but I was so high strung and so stressed out. And I put everything into my job, my career, kind of put the family second tier, and my drinking from them. And it just took its toll. And it was just too much. And that wound still hits me with my dad being gone. So it's like, I can't do that to my kids. It's a wound that I'll never heal. And I don't want my kids to ever experience that, the anxiety and just the self-doubt, why is dad not here? Like it's not, my whole life, my purpose is to be a dad and a husband, and that's what I'm doing now by doing this. And I just way better.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I bet. What is it that, looking back on it, right? Like, what is it that you're making sure you're doing or not doing? Obviously, sobriety is one of those things, but like, what is it that your kids are getting from you that maybe you didn't get from your dad? Like, think like being intentional about it, right? And you're being purposeful about it. What are some of the things that you're leaning into at this time?
Gosh, just being present. I didn't even know my dad. I like, my daughters will ask me sometimes, what's your dad? I'm like, I don't even know. I don't even know. My dad was in the Army. He was a colonel, in the Army, officer in the Army, deployed a lot, alcoholic big time. So what I do know of him, like he never sat down and talked with us. He never went to games with us. And so I don't have any of that. And so here I am doing the exact opposite. And it was very hard, gosh, when I went sober, because when I was in the Coast Guard, I was so busy and so stressed out and drinking. And I myself was doing very similar things that my dad was doing and not being present because I was so stressed out. And then once I retired, we're living off my pension from the Coast Guard and doing the RV life. But now I'm home with my wife and my kids in an RV, a very tight space. So it's like we're living intentional. I had to like learn at the age of 42 when we started this, learn like how to, it's kind of strange. I had to like learn on the fly, like how to be present, how to just talk to my kids. But it's been very, very good. Like it's been amazing. Like I just went for a little run, with my daughter, my youngest Phoebe, who's, 10 years old, a 1 mile run, because she sees me working out every day outside the RV training. And she's like, Dad, can we go on a run? I'm like, let's go. Like, absolutely. Like I would never, you know what I mean? But I missed all those opportunities before because I was so stressed out with work and just doing the typical 9 to 5 grind and just hating life and then drinking and just kind of drifting and now I'm not. Now my life is intentional of what I do. So I look for opportunities to hang with my kids, and I have a one-on-one relationship with each of them. We'll do things all the time. So it's just being intentional.
It's official, man. And listen, this episode is brought to you by Baseline Performance. If you're a father trying to train consistently, you don't need complicated supplement stack. You need something simple that works. Baseline Performance is built for dads who want energy, recovery, and consistency without overthinking it. You train hard, you recover well, you stay consistent. That's the baseline. You can check it out now at baselineperformancenow.com. Again, that's baselineperformancenow.com. Now let's get back to the episode.
Present.
Yeah, that's important, man. And I tell guys this too, because if you're not present, right? And a lot of us are like really career focused, and that's kind of what we've been taught is like provide. In order to do that, we get into our careers. And if we have any success in our careers, then we lean even further into our career.
Yep.
And then we feel this pull between provision and presence. And so we go, okay, we're going to be present. But it's like, we don't know what the heck to do. It's like we go into our house and they're speaking a different language, right? In your situation, it's almost like immersion. Like you go to another country, you just got to speak the language. Like you're in a RV with everyone all the time. Like you have to be able to speak their language or else you won't survive and they won't survive. So that's kind of, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely.
So you went cold turkey right into it, which is awesome because it obviously has forced you to do some things that you already wanted to do. You just didn't know how to.
That's a good way to put it. It's almost like an immersion. It was instant because, and I look at relationships and the things I talk about with my kids and how, because we do this homeschool, they're homeschooled. And as we travel the country, we meet up with other full-time travelers. There's a whole world that does this, or a whole group of folks out there do this in the country. Very interesting and fun. You meet these people and you meet up in different spots around the country. So my kids have tons of friends. Like you and not, like my son has a girlfriend and it's amazing. So But my point is I'm able to talk to my kids about things like that. And when they have, conflicts, like one of my daughters has conflicts with another girl, and I get to, I get to give my perspective, and they come talk to me. Like, I didn't talk to my mom and my dad obviously passed away. I didn't talk to them about any of that. I never had that like parent sounding board, so my kids actually come to me and want to talk to, myself and my wife. And it's amazing. Like so we're like, wow, cause like, are we the cool parents? Or like, we don't know. We're just like, but they want to come talk to us. And like, cause my wife, the same thing. She never really had that relationship with her mom and dad. So we're like, oh my gosh, if our kids want to come talk to us, like, this is a good thing. We just feel so much more connected, with them than how we, grew up. So we think we're doing it right. We're still winging it as, every day, but it feels good.
Yeah, yeah. And that's something to remember too, is like you won't officially know, like we're raising adults, right? And so we won't officially know if what we're doing day in and day out is the right thing until they become adults, right? And we won't
Absolutely.
know, like, if we plant a seed, we won't know if we did the right thing until that seed sprouts and becomes an actual tree. Like, we won't know. And that's kind of our situation as parents, is like, I don't know, man. I think I did a great job today. I did my after action summary. It looks like I did some good stuff. I kind of messed up here. I did some good stuff there. I don't know. Let's start tomorrow and try again, right? And then we just keep
Yep.
trying to stack those days on top of each other. And then hopefully at the end, we can say we did a great job. But either way, we did everything that we could along the way. And I think that's the part we have to lean into, because a lot of guys feel like, hey, am I doing this right? Am I doing the right things? It always is kind of question of, am I doing enough? And the answer is, did you do something today? If you did, then you did enough.
Sure. And I think as parents, we should all try to, especially dads, I think all parents want to give our kids better lives than what we had, and I think if you're doing that, you're moving the needle forward and you're doing at least some positive trajectory. And I
Yeah.
for sure know we're doing that with our kids, because my wife, she came from a broken home as well. And I came from a broken home. So, her dad is deceased, my dad's deceased. So my kids essentially don't have a grandpa. But they're growing up in a household, well, an RV right now, but household with mom and dad being present, always there. They have food on the table. Like, I went without food at times. We grew up on welfare
Mhm.
in certain times. So all these struggles that we experience, and things that I don't think any kids should really have to, like, my kids they're living such a good life. But yes, I think the truth, the proof's in the pudding, when they're like 20, and hopefully they like us still, and hopefully they're successful in whatever they pursue. But I just want to raise good kids that are respectful, communicate well, and want to be around us. And if I get that when I'm older, like, and my kids want to be around me, then I'm a happy man.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. When they want to come back and spend time with you, or they pick up the phone and call you and say, "Hey, Dad, how you doing?" or "This happened today," then yeah, like they
That's
do
my
now,
dream.
right? Like they come to you
Yep.
now and they tell you stuff and they share things with you because they still think like you're all knowing dad, right?
Yep.
And when you get old and they're off on their lives, you want that same thing, right? And you want them to be able to feel like they can always come back to you and ask questions and feel safe and secure in your space,
Absolutely.
you know?
Absolutely. Honestly, that's the end goal. I hope they grow up and be successful with whatever they do, but I want them to be confident in who they are. And we're trying to instill these good morals and values in them, and to be, respectful, well-mannered, communicate well, be able to talk to anyone. So, and I feel like that gets you very far in life. Um, you know, so I hope what we're doing, again, we're winging it just like a lot of people
Yeah,
are, but,
yeah,
so we'll see. I'm optimistic about it, though. I'll say that I feel good about it,
right, right. You're
you
still
know?
putting in the work, right? Still putting in the
Oh
work.
my gosh, every day. Absolutely.
So when you decided, when you kind of leaned into your faith, you leaned into sobriety, was there something that you talked about with the family, or is it just like maybe a quiet decision you made by yourself and then they just kind of experienced it, or how did that work for you?
Well, sobriety, I told my wife, I said, I'm going to try. It's 2025. I said, it was New Year's Eve. We're actually having a party at our RV. We had like 200 people over. It was crazy. And we're all, drinking, staying up late, right? Partying in front of the RV. And I
Hmm.
said,
Hmm.
honey, I want to try. It's a new year tomorrow. So I want to try and go sober. And she's like, really? I said, I want to try it. And she's like, of course, you're supported. She's always wanted me to quit. And, so I started, literally took it one day at a time. One day at
Yeah,
a time. I
that's it.
did one day. I'm like, yep. It sounds crazy. It's just little wins, and you stack them, because I've talked to so many guys, offline about this. And one day at a time. Then became two, three, then a week. I'm like, shoot. And it was hard. The
Yeah,
first 3 months were hard. I'll be honest, it was hard. But now being 14 months, I don't even remember 14, 15 months. I don't know what month. Yeah, 14 months now. Like it's how I feel inside, the things that have happened, how I view my optics of the world, my perspective, everything's changed. And then physically, I mean, if I have pictures on my social media that I post just like 2 years ago, if you saw my body, I drank so much I was puffy. I didn't realize alcohol was so estrogenic. So I had like this puffy look over my entire, like my face, my body, everything. Like my face, like right now, I mean, this is me, no alcohol. I don't drink or do anything. And I'm like leaner. I'm in the best shape of my life. It's crazy. Like even better
Yeah.
than when I went through rescue summer school when I was, 22, 23 years old. Like I didn't realize alcohol, the amount I was drinking, that my body just was always constantly inflamed. So when you do that, and it makes you retain that water. So I was puffy. So I mean, again, physically, every metric has improved is what I tell people. So the wife was very supportive of that. On the faith kind of side, it kind of happened slowly. March is when we went to church together and I started, she saw me kind of break down and then I started reading. So she was like, okay. And she has her upbringing with it. She was raised Southern Baptist in in North Carolina. You went to church every Sunday and on Wednesday. And I think went like Friday or whatever. They very, very involved in the church at a young age. And then she got kind of turned off on it because a lot of them were, sleeping around. They were drinking. They would, say one thing in the church setting and then behind closed doors doing other things. So she thought they were, hypocritical. So she kind of pulled away from it. It's not that she didn't believe, she's kind of pulled away from it. So she was kind of like, oh. So when I started like leaning into it very heavily, she gave me my space to like do my thing. And then, but now she sees how I've changed for the better and she's kind of getting on board with it. Like, it's just, so again, lots of good things are happening. Lots of good things. We just bought a house. So we'll be coming out of the RV here in May and found a church in the community, went to the church and met some of the most amazing people. My wife and my kids. And the first time as my family, as me, dad, as the leader of my family, took my entire family to church. It was literally 2 weeks ago. And it was amazing. And my kids loved it. The people we met. Yeah, no, again, I'm telling you, God is good. Like, how he works. So yep. So now I feel like everybody's on board. Everybody's following dad's lead because I'm following, his lead. So it's working out.
Yeah. Yeah. You said something there that sparked something for me that I heard. I think he actually turned it into a book. Are you familiar with who Ed Milet is?
Ed
It's
Milet, I am not.
kind of like a motivational speaker,
Okay.
author, Tony Robbins type guy, right?
I know Tony Robbins. Okay.
He has a book that's called something like The Power of One More. And it comes from his father was sick or passing. One of the things they were saying, or maybe he wasn't sick or passing. I'm trying to remember how it goes because I read it a couple years ago. Something was happening. Ultimately, it boiled down to, whatever their thing is, just one more day. Whatever, like, okay, I feel like, it's tough but let's just hold on for one more day. Right, we'll just try it one more day. Like you're talking about like one day at a time, whatever it is that we're struggling with. And it's like, oh, today's the worst day that I've ever had in my life. Well, two things. The reality is you've always survived the worst day you've ever had.
Yep.
If you look back at it. And then two, if we just hold on for one more day, things can change. Right. Or if we're working towards something and it's not looking like it's going the way we want to, just one more day. Right. And that idea of one more day or just one day at a time, that's how we get to goals, right? That's how we actually do things, right? It's not the big swings. It's typically not these big, massive swings in one direction or the other. It's just kind of stacking the brick and not giving up.
Yep. I say the same thing. I say that too. I do online fitness and I tell my clients, I'm like, what you just said, stack those bricks and build that wall of discipline. Cause they're like, well, I'm tired today. I'm like, even if you're tired, just go out and do the workout. Just put yourself through the motions, right? It may not be the most productive workout, but I'm like, go out there and stack those bricks and build that wall and get that win. Cause over time is when it happens. The change doesn't happen like overnight. It happens through a process and being committed to it and being intentional.
Yeah. Yeah.
Totally
Let's
agree.
stay on the fitness thing for a second. Because I know a lot of guys that I talk to, because I'm in the fitness space as well. The issue is always like, I don't have enough time, I'm too busy, or I don't have access to a gym, or I don't have equipment, right? You obviously are living in a different scenario, being in an RV, moving around, traveling. I don't know what your gym situation is, but from what I've seen, you're not like going to the conventional gym every day, right? So what is it? What is it? Maybe those dads that are saying, I don't have time or I don't have access. What is something that maybe you would say to them if they were to reach out to you with those kind of questions or maybe even concerns?
Sure. Well, first of all, everybody has time. I tell people, I hear that they do. I tell people it's just not a priority. we all have the same 24 hours in the day. You're not making a priority is what I tell people. And some people a lot of the people that I talk to don't know where to start. So they just don't do anything. They're just like, oh, and
Mhm.
they overcomplicate the stuff and they think it's so complex and it's really not. I've been working out since I'm about to be 44 every day since I was 17. So I love working out. I do it for, beyond the physical benefits and aspects of it. And to me, it's the mental is what I really do it for. So I love it. But once I get folks into a plan and I'm able to coach them like, and they start seeing it, 'cause they just overcomplicate it. It's not that hard.
Mhm.
Like I tell people I live in an RV. Well, you can't see, but out my window's right here. And I literally have 2 adjustable dumbbells that go up to 100 pounds each. And I have a fold up pull bar over there and a bench. And that's it.
Mhm.
Monday's going to be push day, meaning, chest, tris, and shoulders. Tuesday's gonna be cardio conditioning day. And for me, that's running. My clients, depending what they have access to, it could be any biking, swimming, running, whatever they choose for the cardio. Wednesday is gonna be pool day, meaning back and buys. And then Thursday's gonna be another cardio conditioning day. And then Friday's gonna be a leg day. And then Saturday's another cardio conditioning day. And then Sundays is your day off, but I'm a big proponent of not taking days off. So I call it like active recovery. Because my target audience is guys, 40 and plus. So we're a little bit older. We don't recover like we did in our 20s and 30s where we can, I did bodybuilding back then where I would do the gym bro split and train each muscle like 2 times a week and just, and annihilate the muscles. And I've had 4 surgeries right here. I'm all jacked up now, but like we don't recover that way. So at our age, I'm more about training smart and intentional. So I stimulate I try to tell them to stimulate the muscle, not annihilate it. Because we don't want injury. I want to get blood in there. I want to get you have the range of motion, whatever group we're training. And then I want to get the synergy effect of doing it with cardio. And when you do that,
Mhm.
and that's why I say I'm, about to be 44 in the best shape of my life. Because I've been doing this since I retired when I got sober. And I am like, I just ran 28 miles the other day. I'm training for an ultra. It's like, yeah. And I never thought, and I used to hate running. And I don't have a runner's build. I'm a little heavier set. I'm about 200 pounds, and I just ran 28 miles. So I just ran 10 this morning and then I ran another mile, so I have the energy and the capacity now to really be physically present with my kids now. So when guys say they don't have the time, you do have the time, because if I come audit your day, I could find the time for sure. And if you don't have the equipment, I'll show you what I have. I have 2 adjustable dumbbells. And I have clients that literally we do body weight stuff, that work out in their basement. So I work with anybody. But the point is, like anyone, if you make it a priority, you can get in shape, and I get it. Some people don't want to start. You can reach out to people like me. Obviously, you can go on ChatGPT and figure this, there's so much information out there. I just tell people to start. You have to start. You only get one life, and to not live this life in the best body, to me, is like, I don't get it. I train every day. I don't know how people don't work out,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm on the same boat, man. I'll be 43 in, shoot, 2 weeks.
Nice. Heck yeah.
And it's one of those things where, like, I probably work out. Well, there was a period of my time in my life where I was bodybuilding and training like a bodybuilder. So that time and now are probably the most I work out, right? Like I played football, worked out because I had to in school and all that stuff. And I loved fitness. So I became a personal trainer for a while, a strength and conditioning coach, work with all these. But I work out now more than I ever like. I'll probably have a streak right now of probably 40 some odd days where I haven't missed a day, right? And
Heck yeah. See,
it's not
I like that.
because of anything in particular. And I'm not even really keeping track. I'm just like, I go into the garage and I start writing stuff up. I'm like, oh man, shoot, was it day 47? Oh man, like, but it's
You
just
made
a
it to a
matter
habit.
of
Yeah.
exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. Like, and it's just like it doesn't make sense to me if I'm not getting it in. Like I feel weird. I feel off. And every
100%.
day isn't like I'm going in there trying to kill myself. Like when I say I work out every
Exactly.
day, it's not I'm not doing what I used to do, right? Where taking every set to failure,
Exactly.
supersets and grinding and all it. Like I will get some of those. I still have some grinders. Like I still wanna be strong. I still wanna look like I work out, but most of my days are not maintenance. I hate to say maintenance, but it's just maintaining, like you said, range of motion, blood flow. Like I am doing some stuff that's challenging me because I want that every day. Like I want to meet a challenge first thing in the morning to set me up for whatever else is coming next. But that's not the bulk of it anymore. Like, it's very, very survivable, manageable, but it also is challenging me each day.
Yep.
I had a question for you. So
Sure.
in that particular scenario, a guy doesn't have a whole lot of time, doesn't have a whole lot of equipment. What would you say is like the minimum, maybe minimum standard workout that they could do if you just gave them a quick one? Like, hey, I got 15 minutes. I just found 15 minutes in my day. What should I do?
15 minutes. Okay. If we're a time crunch like that, I would probably go with HIIT. HIIT is one of my favorites. So I kind of throw that under cardio conditioning days. But HIIT,
Okay.
if you do enough push-ups, sit-ups and stuff like that, or jump squats where you're just moving your body, calisthenic stuff, you can get a good workout in. So I always lean towards HIIT. I do HIIT once a week. Usually that's on my Thursdays. And kind of HIIT like plyo. So you're jumping around just like I literally just do it with my body right out here, my wife and I. So if you're jumping around doing like body weight squats, push-ups, jumping jacks, going into plank position, popping up, burpees, things like that. If you do that for 15 minutes, you're going to be breaking a sweat. That's what I tell
Oh, you
people.
be smoked. You be smoked.
Exactly. And then, exactly. And this, people that work out know that, but again, people that have never done it, there's so much information out there from, this is the best training plan. This is the best diet. One's not necessarily better than others. It depends on what your goal is, what I tell people. But the thing
Mhm.
is, just start. Start and you kind of figure it as you go and see what fits for you. But start, and then you start seeing the benefits, and you start feeling the benefits in your mental and your all kinds of things. And like you said, if I miss, so my morning routine is I literally wake up, brush my teeth, and I go read 30 minutes of scripture, and I go train. I do it every day. And then I come say some words of affirmation to my wife and kids. And like those 3 things I do every day. And I cannot miss it. And I feel like it starts my day off grounded with intention. And I have gratitude every time I do it. And just, it's a good way for me to start my day. And then the rest of my day could be a little different. We always do different plans, but that's the 3 things, non-negotiables, that I do every day.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you talk about a little bit about like, so non-negotiables, like I think it's important to like lean into that a little bit, because I think what happens with us is if we don't have our schedule in check, right? Like we don't have that kind of, at least a concept of what a schedule looks like, we get kind of blown to and from. Like whatever happens today is just kind of take me wherever. But I think every man should have a set of non-negotiables that either are character non-negotiables, health and fitness non-negotiables, maybe even some, conversation non-negotiables, like things you just don't say or do. You know what I mean? Like, did you like have a plan to have those things, or like you just kind of embrace some things that like, hey, these are the things that have given me the most bang for my buck or most ROI, or these are the things that, again,
Yep.
priorities. Maybe these are the priorities of things that I need to make sure that I take care of for me before I meet the rest of my day. Is that more the case?
Yeah, I think it's more the latter because it came on. Well, I've always worked out every day, even when I was, alcoholic. I'd always work out. So my wife knew if I missed a workout, it's kind of moody. Like you even said earlier, like you kind of feel off, like weird. And I'm the same
Okay.
way. If I miss a workout, like the rest of my day, I feel like I'm out of my body. I'm like looking around, like I just don't I don't feel like myself. So
Yeah.
I've always known my life is centered around training and physical fitness. And then once I found my faith and I started reading the scripture every morning, then I'm like, wow, doing that first, training. I've seen these positive effects in my life and how I do that, and it just, again, it starts my day off with gratitude, and I think that's one of the best things. Like for me, I think everybody should start the day off with that. I don't want to preach or push you, but like if you wake up feeling gratitude, it sets the tone for the rest of the day. And just to be thankful for the simplest things. So that part kind of, I guess, happened slowly within the past, years. I kind of got deeper into my faith and started realizing, wow, reading scripture works, training works. Coming inside, the RV after training, and I say something, my wife is beautiful. My kids, hey, did you guys sleep well? Just having these little tiny conversations, and it's a good way to start the day. And once I do
Yeah.
that, yes, the rest of the day can kind of go which way or not. But then I also have a calendar that I use, and I have tasks in there that I have to hit, every day, which tries, I guess, to keep me in my lane or on track. But those are the 3 non-negotiables every day.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's important, man. I think, like I said, I think everybody should have some non-negotiables, things that just, hey, these are the things that make me me, or that
Yep.
keep me me. They keep me in line, like you said, because it's almost like a rudder, right? Or what I
There
mean,
you
it's
go.
just like if you don't have those things, you can kind of drift anywhere, right? You'd be pulled in a
Yep.
bunch of different directions, but those things keep you on track, to keep you on course for what and who you want to be.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You just said it, like drifting, and I felt like the last 10 years of my career when I turned into an alcoholic and I just wasn't happy. And I always tell people the term drifting because that's what I was doing. I was getting my paycheck and I was getting paid very well and I was doing my job and I did love my job. It just, it didn't become fulfilling at the end. It became very stressful, and it's just I couldn't ever keep up with it. So it became too much for me. And then I, of course, was fueling myself with alcohol, and it was a bad combination. So I looked at my last 10 years of my career as kind of just drifting. And then now, I make way less money because I'm retired, just left my pension, but I would never want to go back to that old lifestyle because I knew how I wasn't here and it wasn't, I like what I'm doing now. I'm living intentional. I'm choosing to do this. I'm choosing my way, how I live every day. And it feels good.
Yeah, that's good, man. That's good. What is maybe hmm, what is the hardest, like, maybe truth that you have to accept about your past life that made you change it? You know what I mean? Like, what was it? Because I know you kind of like it was New Year's and you were just like, hey, I'm gonna try it, but something kind of pushed you to that, right? And so what was that? Because I know there's guys that are listening that may be going through the same situation, right? Where they're functioning, right? They're doing all the things, like you said, it looks perfect on paper, but they know there's something going on, right? And it's just not feeling right anymore. What was that thing for you where you were like, man, hey, I gotta accept that this is the truth and I need to change it?
Gosh, I guess it's a couple of things. I knew if I continued drinking, what my life would look like. So I had that picture in my mind. I'm like, if I continue doing this, if I stay, because you don't have to retire at 20 years. If I stay in the Coast Guard, I would have continued drinking. Once you hit 20 years, retirement eligible. So a lot of guys do retire at 20, but some will go on for 25, even 30. So I knew what my life would look like if I stayed in. I would continue being stressed out and continue drinking. And I was like, I have to make a change. Like there's this the path I was going could not continue. Like I was going to literally end up like my dad. And I knew I didn't want to do that because not that my dad didn't love me. Well, I don't even know, but again, never knew him. But like I love my kids. I'm very present with my kids. Like I can't fathom doing that to them, after me going through it. So I would look at it like that. Tell if guys are looking at how to quit or, reasoning, like, if you continue on that same trajectory, that path you're on now, you know what your life looks like. And you
Mhm.
have to be willing to step out and do something completely different. And you don't have to travel in an RV like I did, but I was willing to open my mind to any possibility because I knew I needed change. I needed healing. I had a wound and I was just filling it with alcohol because I didn't want to address anything. The alcohol just numbed me and I never dealt with anything inside me. And so I just, every day, we would just numb it away, right? And it just packs it all down, but it doesn't go away. It's like in there and you just keep drinking. So I would tell guys, like, if you want to continue on doing drinking, like it's not going to serve you any purpose. Every metric will improve in your life if you quit drinking. And I'm trying to think, there was one incident that happened with two friends and they're amazing people, but they're fellow coasties. And so I retired May 2024. We went back to Miami where I retired out of in December of 2024. We had a storage unit down there. So I saw two of my buddies who are still in the Coast Guard or in the Coast Guard at the time and still in now. And we hung out and this is when I was drinking and we got plastered. And it was embarrassing. My wife had to send them home. She had to pour the bottles out because, we got plastered. One of them's darn near blacking out. We're being very loud. We're in the cul-de-sac of the RV. And it's just embarrassing. And their wives were mad at them. My wife was mad at me. My kids saw it. And it's just like, and I remember waking up the next morning and it's like, you don't really know what happened. I never blacked out, but I'd always ask the next morning for drinking heavy. And I'm like, dang, honey, like, did anything happen? And she's like, yeah, I had to send your friends home. I'm like, dang, was that bad? She's like, yeah, they did, I won't say X, Y, Z. And I'm like, golly, right in front of the kids. And I'm like, and that was mid-December of 2024. And then literally like 2 weeks later is when I started it. But I remember thinking, I'm like, gosh, and I could see my kids' faces the next morning. Of course, my wife's, telling me what I did. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, what, like, seriously, like, what am I doing? Like, at some point I have to grow up, like this cannot continue. So I knew leading up to that, I had a problem. I just didn't know how to quit. But I was like, January 1st, it's coming around the corner. Let's try it out. Just one day. And I tell people, if you can just do one day, try it. Again, that's those little wins, like stack them, try one day, then two, then three. And it's going to be hard. I tell you, it's going to be hard. Like, yeah, I know way around. It's going to be hard. And if it
Mhm.
was easy, nothing worthwhile in life is easy. It's hard for a purpose, but knowing what I know now, like the clarity and how I feel, and I actually love myself for the first time, man. I was so depressed. Like, again, can't I cannot say enough good things about it. My whole life is turned around, like never going back.
There you go. There you go. You kind of answered this, and I was going to ask you, like, what would you say to a dad who is, knowing he needs to make that change, but is kind of like waiting for maybe the right time, or you know what I mean? Like we always kind of have these things where we're like, we know something's up, but we're like,
Yeah.
I think some of it's tied to identity, right? Like your identity, this is who you are, right? Now this is going to be this big, massive identity change. And I don't really want, we're just kind of on the fence about it. What would you say to maybe encourage
Well,
that guy?
I would tell you what's the most important. And to me, and you just touched on something that's actually I'm kind of dealing with right now. Uh, the most important thing to me is taking care of myself and taking care of my family and being a servant of God now. Or I was known as, because you just said it's part of your identity. I was always known as, steak and whiskey Drew. That was my nickname. I like steak and I loved whiskey. And I was always the life of the party. People would always want me and I was the first guy at the party, the last to leave, and I had a very high tolerance of drinking. Like I could drink a bottle of Jack and literally drive, which I did plenty of times, which is not good. I don't know how I avoided DUI. So I was always the guy at the party. So that was part of my identity. And even at work, I would always encourage folks. I'm like, if they're doing a morale event at work, I'm like, if they don't allow alcohol, I'm not going. And I would tell people all the time. It's just like, and I look back like, gosh, how stupid of me and how arrogant. And it was because I was projecting my own insecurities because I was the alcoholic and I knew I had to drink. So I wanted everybody else around me to drink too, to make me feel normal because I was sad and depressed and I was the problem. Everybody else had the problem. I had the problem, but I would try to take people with me. And it's just, oh my gosh, so stupid looking back on it. And when I talk about it, I'm like, I get frustrated myself because, and even at my retirement, I had the best retirement in the Coast Guard. 200 plus people showed up. Amazing retirement. But I had alcohol at my retirement. I was literally sipping a bottle of whiskey at my retirement. And I told all the guys and gals that I worked with, I said, I want whiskey. Again, it was part of my identity. So I got roughly about $4,000 worth of whiskey given to me, at my retirement. They kept walking up to the podium as I'm speaking and placing the table. And that was amazing but I look back, I'm like, everything's centered around alcohol. And yeah, and I look at it now and like, and I just told you about some of the friends I'm having some trouble with. Some of the friends I was very close to when I was in, and they ignore my texts. And so I think they pulled away and I don't, because our relationship centered on us being in the Coast Guard and us drinking all the time. And it's sad because I still like them. They're very good people, but I know one of them has a drinking problem for sure. He won't admit it, and that's fine, but he's pulled away. So it's like, I feel like they think I'm judging them, which I'm not.
Yeah.
And they're just my bros and I'll always hang with them, but I don't know if they feel, I don't know. But so I'm learning some people are shifting out of my life now, which kind of
Hmm.
hurts, but that's okay. I'm an adult. I can take it. But then I've also had a lot of new people come into my life that are good as well. It's good and bad, in certain things. I'm just
Yeah.
in that process dealing with, but again, I'm not going back because I love me more than I ever have. And I love my family and my kids more than, my friends and stuff. So, you know,
Yeah, sometimes we don't understand it. It's making room or clearing space sometimes, and again, it hurts. I've had friends and that we were super close, and then the time passed, and I haven't talked to them forever. And in all honesty, I feel like if I ran into them, if we were just at the grocery store and ran into each other, I would be excited to see them. You know what I mean? We would strike up a whole conversation, but that's not where the relationship is right now. And maybe looking back on it, probably for the better, right? Because some of those guys that I'm talking about, they had some rough times between then and now, and I
sure.
know I'd have been front and center, I'd have been right along
Yep.
with them doing some of the same things because that's what we did. But now as things have shifted and I've leaned into being the present and available father that I want to be and an amazing husband and like I can't hang out with you. I can't be your wingman.
I feel
There's no room for that. That doesn't
exactly.
fit.
I feel the same. It was hard to, so I did change because I changed my standards of what I accept for myself and I raised them. And
Hmm.
some people didn't like that because remember, identity was tied to party Drew, drinking Drew, have fun Drew. And then once I changed my standards, I think it made them uncomfortable because they had that view of me.
Right.
Drew's the partier. Now Drew's different, but does he think he's better than us or it's weird? So I'm like, I don't know. I,
Yeah.
I just have to. I told my wife and we're dealing. She's losing some friends too, and it's just like you said. I think it's just part of the process. We're just kind of in the middle of it, like the fog of the war right now. So it just feels a little weird. But I'm moving forward with Jesus, my wife, my kids. So I'm good.
You're in good hands. You're in good hands.
100%. I feel so confident in myself and my where I'm at in my life. But it's still, friends are friends, and I wish the best for them, and I still love them. The brothers are brothers.
Yeah, yeah. Something that we talked about a little bit earlier, I kind of want to bring back as we kind of get close to wrapping this thing up, man. Is we talked about, when you're raising your kids, we're kind of taking it one day at a time or doing it day by day, and we don't really know until the end, how well we've done, right? Maybe we do some check-ins and we have those little individual conversations with our kids. We ask, hey, how's dad doing? But we don't know on the grand scheme, right? What is it that you want your kids to remember about you when they're grown up? Not when you're gone necessarily, but like when they're adults and they're talking about their dad, what are some of the things that you want them to say, or
That's a good
memories you want them
question.
to have?
Okay. I want them to know that dad never quit. Dad tried because they saw me as an alcoholic many nights, passed out. And they know dad is sober. And so I want them to know dad never quit. He chased his dreams. He didn't necessarily ever fail. He was always chasing his dreams. I hope to get them. I still got a lot of work to do, on myself and stuff, but they know that dad never quits at anything. And I hear them talking to their friends on the RV park, and they describe me as, I'm actually described as the muscly dad in the RV world, which I know my youngest made the word up, which obviously not a word, but it's very funny. She's like, Dad, you're known as the muscly dad, which I was like, okay, I like that,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But they know dad will never quit. Dad loves them dearly. And I'm always, I think they like talking. They come to me and talk to me. So I like that. But I want from them when they're older, I want them to be able to come visit me and know that dad's always there. And if they ever get in trouble, like, come home. Door's always open. Like if they're in their 20s and they're drifting, lost, having a hard time, my kids know they can call me anytime. Dad will be there. Dad and mom will be there. House is always open. Like we come home. We will take care of you, because my kids are amazing. Like to me, it's the best blessing. The number one role I've been blessed with, I look now, is being a dad. Husband is is amazing, but I always say, like, of course I never want to divorce my wife or something happen, but I could, if I died, she could remarry, and vice versa. My kids are always my kids, and those are a gift from God, and they're amazing, amazing kids, and they're growing up to be amazing young adults right now. So, yeah, I guess I hope when we're a little bit older that they want to come visit me. I will know I did a good job if they want to come visit dad and mom, and hopefully they
Yeah.
keep describing me as the muscly dad and all that. I'll keep training and putting in work. Dad won't stop.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. I love that. That's cool, man, to be the muscly dad. Cause like
Yeah,
when it's funny when my youngest is still in elementary, and so when you go up to the school, it's always like, I'm kind of surveying the land. We have like the school events. I'm looking
sure.
at the other dads and like,
Yeah,
he looks like he works out. Yeah, I'm all right. I'm still pretty good. Like if they had
yeah,
to take a vote, what I mean, they might pick me
yeah.
if they need somebody to grab something heavy. So I'm okay. All right, you know. And so one of her friends told her, this was maybe last year or the year before. She's like, "Your dad looks like he works out all the time." And I'm like,
Hashtag
"Bingo, that
winning.
kid,
Yeah, yeah,
that kid, that kid knows what's up."
yeah, yeah. Hey, but that's your winning though. If your friends, daughter's friends tell her and they tell you, that's amazing. To me, that's good.
Yeah,
If they
yeah, I like
notice,
it.
exactly, man, it makes you feel good.
All right, before we wrap things up, I have one final question for you. Is if we were able to do this thing right, and we promote the podcast and we get every dad to tune in, and they're all going to hear this next part. What is it that you want them to hear?
All right, so do you want me to like plug my podcast or my channels? What you're saying, or just kind of just any words of advice?
Both, both.
Both. Okay. All right. Well, I think life is too short not to chase your best self. And I developed my social media, my online presence around that. And I see too many dads, and I was one of them, who essentially just were like drifting through life. I use that term a lot. Just kind of drifting, going through the motions, right? You're getting your steady paycheck. You put your health to the wayside. You're doing very well in corporate world and all that stuff, but you're not present at home. You're failing in your health. And we all hear the term dad bod, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's normal to be, in the dad bod." I don't believe that's the way it should be. I think it's used to justify laziness and not prioritizing your health. And I think it's important, the older we get, to prioritize your health, because I know what it's like to feel heavier, be out of shape, and not be able to be as present and capable in your own body. Because the more capable you are in your own body, the more freedom you have to do whatever you want. Like I go on hikes with my kids. I've done impromptu runs with other friends in the RV world. Like, so I'm able to live a life that's much, much fuller than if I wasn't taking care of myself. So with that, just live intentionally. Find out what you really want in life and live intentional. And if it's chasing money, go for it. But really find your purpose. Like find your purpose and go after it. And for me, that's being a capable dad and husband and a servant of God. And I found my purpose and I'm going to pursue that. And I found when I pursue that, like everything else around me elevates and it just feels good. And so I say to other dads or men, around our age listening, if you don't know where to start, there's so much research out there. Reach out to me on my page. The Drew Sinclair is my page. Reach out to me. I talk to folks all the time. Obviously, you have your page. You have a very big presence, obviously. Just start, though. Stop drifting. Life's too short. That's what I say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
I 1000% agree, Drew. Right? I mean, I think that's the key, right? Is if we pursue our purpose, the other stuff that we think we want somehow finds us. Like when you start living in alignment, the other stuff just you start attracting things that it's like, oh man, like I could have been chasing that, right? And it would have been running away from me, but
Yep.
instead I poured into myself, and now these things are chasing me,
Exactly.
or they're finding me. Maybe not chasing me because I'm not running away from them, but they're finding me, right? And they're kind of falling into place, and everything's kind of lining up. If guys have listened to this up to this point, and now they want to reach out to you, you mentioned your Instagram. I don't know if you want to say it
Sure.
again, but if there's a way that they can reach out to you, high five you, handshake you, thank you for the episode and the wisdom you shared, or if they just want to follow along, maybe they want to get some workouts or they want to work
Yeah.
with you, what is the best way for them to do that?
Yeah. So I have the Instagram. That's kind of my biggest social media presence. It's thedrewsinclair.com or not .com, the Drew Sinclair. TikTok, the same way. And then I'm on Facebook. I started YouTube, but I don't know. I'm not doing long form yet. So mainly Instagram, and just, I tell people to DM me if you have questions. I talk to people offline all the time. I've talked to people about quitting alcohol, joining the military, marriage advice, having kids, traveling an RV. Honestly, I tell people I'm an open book, and I love sharing, my journey with people. I didn't realize it would inspire so many. And so for me, I tell people I'm an open book. Hit me up if you got questions about anything. I love trying to help out, where and when I can. Yeah, so Drew Sinclair.
Awesome. Awesome. So fellas, you heard that. And listen, if you're driving or working out, it might not be the time, but it's in the show notes. It'll be in the show notes. So when you finish up, make sure you check that out. Make sure you go follow Drew, send him a message, say thank you, high five him, handshake him, like a post, whatever feels comfortable for you, but make sure you let him know that you appreciate what he's done and spent his time with us here today. Drew, thank you so much for spending time with us today. Like I said at the beginning, when you and I were talking, that I understand how important time is for all of us. And so I
Sure.
don't take it lightly that you took the time today to share with us about your journey, and give us a little insight into who Drew Sinclair is, and kind of his fatherhood and life journey. Thank you so much, man. I really, really appreciate it.
Well, Rod, it was an honor, man. Hey, thank you for, first of all, allowing me to come on your podcast, man. You have a very big platform, 500,000 plus, man. You reached out. I was like, whoa. I'm the little small fish in the pond. You're like you're the big guy. So I was like, 100%, absolutely. I was like, hand salute, let's go. So I just want to say
Yeah.
thank you, man. And I started following your page now. So we have very similar, on faith, family, fitness, and freedom. I think you have finance in there. Very similar, like our pillars of what we kind of post and talk about. So
Yeah.
dude, I was like, man, I'm honored that you even had me on here, dude. So I definitely appreciate you.
You know what? A small oversight. Let me go back to that. I'm glad you mentioned it because I wanted to ask you about the freedom piece and what does that mean for you now? And since you brought it up, before we jump off and maybe we close on this, what does freedom mean to you now?
Freedom to me, freedom is everything because we want more money to get freedom, right? At least that's my belief. People, you want money to do the things that you buy and buy your time back or buy the things that you want. So freedom to me is so important. And I look at this lifestyle I'm doing, I retired from the Coast Guard and I could have hopped into the corporate world. That's what usually a lot of military guys do. They do their 20 years and they get out and do a federal job. And you're busy doing that, right? I was like, I want to just take some time off, for myself, my family, and really just kind of figure out life and just have some freedom and see what happens. Take an open mind. I wanted to just change my entire identity, my life, everything, grow my beard out, my hair. I have a, long hair now. I wanted just to do everything, just do open mind, be completely different. So freedom to just be different how I am now. Traveling in an RV, not working. I do a little online fitness coaching here and there, but I don't have a job where I go in like 9 to 5. And then on top of that, my wife doesn't have to work. So we have so much freedom to do what we want with our kids, and it allows us to live this, amazing life. And one day I hope to make more money to do more extravagant and bigger things, right? But for the time being, where we're at in our life, freedom is absolutely amazing. Where the kids are in my life, the ages they're at, like, I cannot understate it. I say pursuing freedom for me is that, and it's very, very important.
Love it. Love it. Love it. All right, Drew, thank you for joining us, and I'll be talking to you soon, brother.
Awesome. Thank you, Rod.
Fellas, if you made it this far, I appreciate you. And if something in this episode connected with you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with another father who needs to hear this message. Make sure you go follow Drew Sinclair on Instagram, shoot him a message and let him know that you heard the show. And as always, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next episode. We're going to keep having real conversations that help you show up better as a man, a husband, and a father. So until next time, be present, lead your family, and keep putting in the work.